Son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC. All right, your channel locked in on everything Juventus. It's August 17th. It's been a very, very interesting week for news for Juventini. All right, with a lot around again. These key targets, we continue to wait, but are these other clubs playing games? Giuntoli, is he in full scramble mode? Has he lost the plot? We reintegrate Weston McKennie and Chiesa still on the outs. Has fans left completely confused and wondering what the hell's going on, and we as fans are going to try to make some sense of it, or maybe we can't. I don't know, but we're going to go through it all and tackle it all together, and we're going to take a look as the action returns at our first match against Como, go over the first projected lineup of 24-25, all right, and give some way too early and Mercato dependent predictions. All right, so we're gonna have a lot of fun. Obviously, you can see I got Skanga, I got Trim, and I got Omer. Fellas, you ready to rock or what?
Let's rock. Let's rock.
Do it. Let's do it. Season starts today, boys.
There we
get
go.
fired
Well, these
up.
two are ready. You jabronis left me out of the conversation, so you want to know something? Guess what? I'm winging it today. Forget all you bastards.
Yeah.
I'm winging it. Don't
Yeah.
wipe your nose.
You
You know what you did.
You always
You know
winging
what
it.
you did.
No sympathy
It's
points
true.
either, but nice try. So everybody in the live, if you weren't sure, okay, pack up your bags. You're going on a little bit of a guilt trip from Skanga this morning. So, yeah, might have missed one member in the link. That's my bad, all right. But we're all here now, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to take a second
all
to
that
say
matters.
what's up to everybody in the chat. Not everybody, but most of you, okay? Every season, I think I've finally seen the last of McNuggets, and every season he finds his way back. We got Matt weighing in on that one. Dragons, good morning, everyone. Hello, Swarit, going through some tough days right now. We're going to talk about Fede, okay? Ciao, guys. What a total mess we are in.
Oh,
Now,
my God.
let's see
Jesus.
how we'll see how everybody's feeling here, okay? Gabrielle, hi. Hello. Christian Palumbo, who had freeze Chiesa out and then extend McKennie on their bingo card? Did you, Anth?
The Chiesa thing is not surprising to me at all.
Reintegrating McKennie, maybe a surprise there. I don't think I had that one on the bingo cards, but nonetheless, we are going to tackle it all. And you know what? We really got to start with the Paulo Nomolo drop, because there were some key tidbits in that one that kind of adds a new little element there. And for Paulo Nomolo, for those that maybe aren't familiar, it was always like, it's this persona, okay? But it's a Facebook persona. And it was for the majority of its time, past 8 years, maybe, one actual person that was kind of behind this persona account on Facebook. That is for Juventini, because it's all just Juve drops. And really picked up a lot of steam because there was a lot of accuracy in those drops. Well, it's become a lot fewer and far between as far as the drops go, but they're always still very interesting. And I do believe now it is a team that actually looks after that. But nonetheless, they dropped something this past week that was very, very interesting when you actually break it all down. So I'm going to go through it all, but then we'll touch on the key points. So from Paulo Nomolo, Szczesny, this is probably Giuntoli's real mistake, labeled by them, that they took for granted the move to Saudi Arabia. In fact, the player did, though, accept the proposal made, but it was the Arabs who backed out of the deal. So could you even call that really Giuntoli's mistake? I found that what funny that they said that's their real mistake, but they did say there was agreement there between Szczesny and the club. So nonetheless, that's what they stated there. For Rugani, the decision to sell recently renewed defender was that of Thiago Motta, who thinks he cannot fit into the new system. Watch out for Facundo Gonzalez, whose future won't be decided until the last days of the Mercato. He could find his way into staying for the season. The Toribo situation is simple. He wanted Juventus, had refused offers. Giuntoli wanted him with the loan, which was the only way to obtain the transfer. It was all done. But when time came to finish the deal, Nice backed out because of a higher offer from West Ham and ones that we could not meet. Okay?
Giuntoli should have paid 60 million for him. Paid the 60 million and just ended it. That's what Twitter wants. I'm being sarcastic, everyone.
Settle down. Settle down. McKennie. There was a negotiations regarding his future, and there was a principal agreement with him to extend. His entourage tried to push this further by increasing their demands. Motta would be open to keeping the player, as he can fill many roles, but there is resentment from the American towards Juve because of the way they handled his return last summer. So what's interesting here is this drop came days before we heard about the reintegration of Weston McKennie. And he states right there, Motta would be open to keeping the player. As far as McKennie's resentment towards Juve, well, those words were, it seemed that way in what he said a couple months ago or a month and a half ago, talking about his return as a lone player, not having his locker, not getting his number, all that, right? So interesting stuff there. Rabiot was offered a 3-year extension, but his demands were to make more money and included a hefty fee towards his mother agent. They negotiated for a while, then Giuntoli moved towards Thuram, who they believe can be the surprise of the summer. Nothing crazy there. Chiesa is an insane scenario. He states in October was offered a renewal at the same wages, but in the end, he hoped with a good Euros, he could get a larger wage. So he's claiming since October, Chiesa has had his mind made up and was ready to go to Euros looking for a larger contract. Since October, according to this drop, right? Together, his agent Ramadani and Giuntoli worked to find a solution, but there's no offers. There was an agreement with Roma, but the player wanted Champions League and turned them down. Now he wants to stay for the next season and leave on a free transfer. Now, Molo doesn't touch on this, but there's a ton around on what? An agreement with another club already being there right now for Chiesa to move there on a free, right? So here we go. Colt Miners, there's been an agreement. We know that for a while, and they just reiterated that with Gonzalez. They just say it seems that Fiorentina accepts the loan with a condition obligation. We're waiting for Fiorentina's replacement. Well, we've got Fiorentina's replacement. Things still aren't moving. Now, our team's playing games. We'll get to that. But as far as the key points out of here on McKennie and Chiesa, so it's more fuel to add to this fire on these players. But McKennie, him being reintegrated, the face value right now that fans are kind of trying to wrap their heads around is we are pushing Chiesa out still, and we are reintegrating Weston McKennie. That's just full face right there. This is what we're doing. Why the hell are we doing this? So, if you take some of this, if you take what's gone on, and you go back to the words of Motta saying everybody is out, I know there's another little nugget there that they put out there stating that Motta's words were not that of the directors.
That's correct.
So him stating that didn't matter. None of that really matters because for me, it's also all correct. Been leverage and posturing from Giuntoli and Juventus. And I don't think Juve's going to do anything they don't want to do. But what's all three of your immediate reactions to what we're seeing right now? Chiesa still on the outs, McKennie being reintegrated, okay? And we're going to start here with Omer.
Oh, I'm so tired of talking about the Chiesa situation. It's like been a constant theme throughout the summer, and we've done, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 of these. So I'm going to say what I always said. Something happened there that I have no idea what, but the relationship seems to be completely broken. No idea what caused it. No idea if it was Giuntoli or Allegri or Chiesa himself or his agent. But if they can reinstate McKennie and take out Chiesa, without even thinking twice. Something happened that I don't know about, so I can't make a judgment on it. McKennie, I mean, we said that we are going to have some players that are going to stay around and be part of the team because they wouldn't be able to sell them. So that wasn't a surprise. The fact that it's McKennie was kind of surprising, but I was getting ready for Kostic or Milik or earlier possibly Keane. One of those guys just couldn't be sold and stayed with the team. That's why I said I don't like the alienation from the training of all the guys who were on the transfer list. But okay, we have him now. We got to make the best out of it. If he's going to be part of the team, I don't know. Maybe he will be useful for a few games. Definitely not a starter. I don't know. Let's see how it pans out and drag this problem onto next summer again.
Yeah, Trim, what do you think about this reintegration?
Well, it's definitely surprising. I mean, I would think I can speak for all of us collectively that we didn't really have McKennie in the plans, and I think the majority of the fan base wouldn't mind seeing him going. When we first heard of the Villa deal, obviously we're all excited, thinking, this could be great for him and for the club, and then he doesn't accept. And since then, he's basically been putting a block on any move possible. So I know I said in our little team chat earlier this week that, kind of to a small extent admire the fact that the guy wants to stick around, or at least seems like he wants to play for Juve. But when you're not in the plans, you're not in the plans. So he should have moved on and could have been done with all this. But to Omar's point, really just touching on, people are complaining this week that we only have 13 to 14 squad players, not including the guys that are out of project. So we need depth. So having him as a rotational piece for the season, I can understand it. I wouldn't say I'm happy about it or thrilled about it, but, we do need depth. So I don't mind if he sticks around. With Chiesa and the Chiesa situation, the one thing that I will mention is, again, we'll all kind of have our own opinions and base it on what you hear with a grain of salt. But this Nomolo drop kind of, for me, solidifies something that I kind of had a feeling about, which is the reason it's gotten so ugly for me is the club sniffed out that this guy wants to leave and has another deal on the side to leave on a free. That's kind of the impression that I'm getting. And they said, the hell with it. Like, they had to put up with his whining and his demands with the agent and wanting more money. They've offered contract negotiations to him. He's not accepting them. His kind of bigger than life personality, thinking that he's something more than what he is. And he said,
Allegedly.
You know what? I want to gamble on myself and go to the Euro and see what happens, and thinks he can command the money that he's asking. And unfortunately, it just went south for him and fast. And he's quickly realizing that nobody is interested. Like not a single team, or at least not at his figures that he's demanding. So it'll all come out in the end. I'm just really, like Omar, curious to just get this over with as fast as possible. And then once everything kind of trickles out, then the fans and the media and anybody can make their opinions and judgments accordingly after, right? Like, we'll never know the full truth, but I mean, it'll come out and we can base our opinions around it on that point.
Okay. And then, and I got myself a theory that I brewed up on the whole Chiesa thing that I'll dive into. Skanga, your thing with McKennie's reintegration. Now, I'm going to twist it a bit for you. Did he bully his way back in, as some fans suggest? Did he bully his way back in by kind of sabotaging a Luis deal, not accepting other moves? Does it feel like he bullied his way in?
Okay, so when you look at the Chiesa thing and the McKennie thing, people try and compare the two. On one side, you have a player who was doing everything to stay with the club. And on the other side, you have a player that's doing everything to leave the club. Now, hopefully I don't have to explain which one's which. So with McKennie, you can't, he's with the demands. I can see where it'd leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth. It did in mine, right? It's like, come on, man, why wouldn't you take a better deal? But the underlying thing is that he's doing everything he can to stay with the club. Why don't we want players like that? And I'm not saying he's going to be a starter on this team. I'm saying he was always going to be a rotational piece. So I have a little bit more respect for him for doing everything he can to stay with the club. Okay, did he potentially sabotage the deal? Yes, but the deal went through anyways. Giuntoli found a way to get that deal done. Sule was getting sold anyways. People will be like, "Oh, McKennie stayed. We had to sacrifice Sule." No. Sule was getting sold. We talked into these microphones 9 months ago and said that was going to happen. So, of the two, I know you guys probably hashed it a lot. All I'm going to say is I'm going to have more respect for a guy who wants to stay with the club than a guy who's doing everything to leave the club.
There's also another aspect to it that I want to add. The inability to sell players might have caused it as well. Selling McKennie as well, because they haven't been able to sign a right back. Now, McKennie is versatile and can be used in multiple positions, including right back. And the inability to sell him, there's like a domino effect that should go into play. And one of those pieces is Miretti. And the fact that Miretti might leave for Genoa is the reason for keeping McKennie.
Well, I'm literally getting into all this. And so my take on this whole thing when it comes to McKennie, I'm pissed at him. I'm pissed at him that he's been shopped 3 seasons in a row. I'm pissed that he's refused everything. However, it's hard not to believe the Nomolo drop that Juve did have an agreement there or wanted to renew him on these terms and now have found those terms. It's hard not to believe that, because if you think after all this that we've seen right now, Juve is going to do something they don't want to do, or Giuntoli is going to do something he doesn't want to do, that's kind of hard to believe based on everything we've seen up until this point. So for me, if they're doing it, it's because they're okay with it. And 2.8 million sounds right around the wheelhouse. We were hearing all those rumors on what money they offered him when he got kind of upset by it or wanted to get more money. All right. So it's one of these things where the optics might be against it, but I don't think Giuntoli's doing anything he doesn't want to do or isn't okay with. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to choose Miretti sitting on the bench as a 6th option in this midfield, I would rather put McKennie as that 6th option and have him get some rotational minutes. Maybe, just maybe, he helps on the right side more than we think because of lack of depth coming in or whatnot. Maybe he could do something and surprise us like he did last year. But in the long run, it gets Miretti a much-needed loan. As far as bullying his way in, well, in the end, it's on Giuntoli's terms and Juve's terms. He's not getting 5 mil, that everyone was reporting he was going at these other clubs for. So, maybe a bit of option A, maybe a bit of option B. It's a little bit maybe of both. Maybe we are scrambling a bit. I don't think we're necessarily scrambling. And everybody goes back to these words. Everybody's clinging on these things they hear. And, well, Motta came out and said all these guys are out of the project again, going back to, what do you believe? If you chose to believe Juve would go into this season with 15 players on the roster, I'm not saying. We had a good laugh about it on this show, Omer and Trim and myself, thinking, oh man, are they ready to freeze out all these guys? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. League? You still have to round out the squad. And we said we don't know the situations around these players fully. I wouldn't be surprised if more guys get reintegrated. Okay? But for this one, I don't think Juve's doing anything that they're not comfortable with or okay with. As far as Chiesa goes, here's my theory, okay? And it kind of touches on where Trim's at, but I think, not necessarily tying into Nomolo's time frame, but I think he was approached very, very early into last season. And I think there was seeds planted with Fede because it totally seems like a Beppe Marotta move. Okay, one of the key guys at Juve, there's renewal talks. He's about to go into a final contract year. I would not be surprised if he was approached very, very early on and always had that seed of doubt about doing anything, and he became gun-shy. And I don't even necessarily know if it had anything to do with Euros whatsoever, or more so the fact of playing the Euros, but seeing what teams come for him in general and having this kind of fail-safe almost like, hey, these guys will take me on a free or whatnot. I also don't know if Bepe's playing games and Inter doesn't want him at all and just trying to screw Juve over. I've had like this theory come up.
Yeah. If you're an Italian club right now in Serie A, like, does anyone have 15 million to spare? Everyone is like hanging by a thread, trying to work FFP out, and then you see the Chiesa situation from the outside, and you'd say, why would I spend 15 now? It doesn't seem like he's going to renew anyway.
Exactly.
I can have him on a free, just sign him in January. That's why the offers are not arriving.
I would not be surprised if he did that, and something was planted earlier with Chiesa. But as far as Chiesa goes, it's not just like in Italy that there's like all the rumors that I dug up out of England and around some of the sources around some of these clubs just to see what they were saying around Chiesa. It remained pretty consistent. And I'll drop kind of what I was able to track down and find anyways.
Why are you looking that up? Omer, weren't we talking about this in like May, April, March? Chiesa waiting for the Euros in order to like see the we were talking about this. Were we not?
Yeah. It wasn't. It's not. None of that is a surprise, right?
Yes, this is not. None of this should be a surprise to anybody.
So, what I dug up was Fede Chiesa was looking for a 5-year contract, 12 million in gross per season, guarantees regarding game time, where he stands on the project. And it also alludes to certain family guarantees, but doesn't get into details. This was one of many drops. Every team that I was looking into, it said the same thing. It was, yes, there's interest. So Arsenal, yes, there was interest. The demands coming from Fede, far too high considered by the club. And honestly, that line is rinse and repeat and just insert a Premier League club. He's been shopped everywhere. We had the Besiktas president come out and say demands were insane. Way too much. Mm-hmm. Way too much. And we didn't believe him. We're like, he's probably just doing that because he doesn't want to go to Besiktas. But holy shit, when you start looking at it, it's consistent across the board with the sources and even in Prem clubs. And it was listed that the Prem was his favored destination. Maybe, just maybe, this guy cares more about the money than he does remaining.
When the current of news is traveling in one direction, sure, you're going to get like eddies of little things flowing here and there. But when the whole current of news seems to be going one way, you got to kind of say where there's smoke, there's fire. Like it all seems to line up.
Yeah.
Lean more towards that direction, definitely. Like, I mean, it's pretty hard to ignore
Ride the river.
All the things that are being said. That's why I was saying, like, yeah, take everything with a grain of salt, of course. But, I mean, it's not looking good for this guy who once had what I thought was, like, a pretty, squeaky clean record in terms of, like, look and image and everything. It's completely...
Well, let me put a question out there. Does anybody on this panel want him on this team?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Still do. You don't. I still do.
No, I do not.
I do.
Nope.
Well, let me rephrase that. I want him on the team, putting all this BS aside, but obviously now that things have come out the way they have, obviously it's easier to kind of say, I'd rather just not deal with the headache and pivot in a different direction with a different player.
All that aside,
I would have been willing to gamble on him for this year. But
all that aside, I'm sure we can find someone else who can score 10 goals a year.
Well, that's just
Gotta find someone else.
Now, in the grand scheme of things, 12 gross.
7 net.
12 gross works around 7. 7 and change million. He's currently at 5, so he's looking for €2 million increase. In the grand scheme of things, not crazy, but the terms. If he is looking for multi-year, that was one of the other things rumored out there. We're trying to get a
mean?
bridge deal. So what did I say the whole time? It was going to come down to a guy that feels he's got nothing to prove and contracts that insinuate you have something to prove. Term might have been just as crucial as money. Because 7 mil going from 5 to 7 mil, it's not the be all end all, but to commit to that over the next 3 years or buy somebody that's going to get you there with less fees, less annual cost over the 3-year term. And when he's getting outperformed by players in the league that make significantly less, it's a tough ask.
And the league's broke.
It's a tough ask. So again, then you get into the whole Allegri thing. I'm not going to get into that. I just think that it's a messy situation. It was always going to get messy, but it's everybody's own personal feeling where they think on this one. But the rumors seem to be consistent. Now we got to get to Cope Miners. Cope Miners, Kalulu, and Gonzalez. Okay. So these are the 3 guys. Right out of the gate, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. And everybody knows where I stand, but fuck Kalulu, okay? Like, fuck this guy. Seriously, what the hell we're making this guy out to be something he's not. And I mean, the second he starts needing reassurance, needs even a phone call from Mota, you know what? Your team's trying to kick you out now. I don't know why we're pressing so hard. See you later. It's gotten off to a wrong start already. I'm done with you. I didn't even have you ahead of 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 other targets. All right? Your name just popped up and it was like we're going for it. But you know what? Brutal start. I couldn't care less about you. Leave him to rot at Milan's bench. I couldn't care less. I don't fucking want this guy. Kalulu, Omer.
It's a family show.
Okay.
Yeah, if rumors are to be believed, and Juve and Milan have agreed terms, and it's only Kalulu holding back the deal, then yeah, I'll repeat it. Fuck Kalulu. We don't need any of those guys. That's
earmuffs, kids.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah,
nothing to add.
Trim, feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely move on. It's like the second the guy is like wanting to meet with your coach before even signing the contract to figure out the plans and where he's going to play and all that. It's like, all right, pivot. Don't even meet with him and just move on. No, it's ridiculous, man.
Reeks of previous mistakes.
Yep.
And giving guys guarantees and this sense of entitlement. Just, I understand Kalulu coming back from a season injury riddled, which is another concern. Okay, by the way, but he wants guaranteed minutes. He wants to get back in the fold. But you know what? We're not there. It's competition at all spots. That's the way it should be. See you later, man. If you're looking for guarantees, fucking not here. And I hope they set the tone with that.
I don't have a problem with a player asking the coach like what his visions are. But if it's true that he was asking about guarantees, and no. Go to number 7 on your draft board.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent in the chat here too with everybody. Just, move away. Facundo Gonzalez, better than Kalulu. Yeah, potentially. Maybe. But we talk about other targets. Other targets that are available that you would take. And by the way, there is a little bit of a note here on Kiwior, who is one of those targets. But Kiwior kept out of the squad. Technical reasons. All right. So, we'll see what's going on there. But I have him ahead of Kalulu. I have Hermoso, which I'm surprised there's no interest seemingly from Juve on him being on a free. I have him above. I even have Hummels above because if something were to happen to Bremer, Hummels could be a guy you could lean on as a one still for a season. I have these guys all ahead of him. Do you guys have Kalulu ahead of any of those 3?
Nope, never even thought of him. I thought he was still hurt. So, fuck, for all I care, he can, like you said, sit on the bench at Milan. I don't care.
There you go. Omer, do you have Kalulu ahead of any of those guys?
No. Look, speaking only on playing ability, he was part of the team that has won the league for Milan. And like, what level does he have to be above? The Shilio, that's like the bar, is probably better than him. But again, all those games around, I didn't thought it was possible, to be honest. Like that Juve are even looking at him, that Milan wants to get rid of him. They don't tend to do that, and it seems like they need him too. But no, it's just he's not that guy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of guys who are not what they think they are. And again, okay, so he'll find himself on the bench at Milan this season. Fine, enjoy that.
Yeah. Now, we got to get to these other ones, though. Colt Miners and Gonzalez with those deals. Because you keep hearing a lot. So, the latest, obviously, that we hit this week. And again, what a roller coaster ride, okay? So, final offer in for Colt Miners. But that was coming from weak sources. I said, let's stay tuned, because the same day that came out, Skira said there's meetings going down today. Then you get the bomb. Juve's increased their offer. 52 million fixed, 7 million bonuses. That's 59 total. You're like $1 million away from the 60 those rat bastards in Atalanta want, okay? You're right there. They say no, I'd be shocked, okay? But we're still waiting. In the meantime, Brescianini has been brought in. They're wrapping things up for Samardzic. Okay? So now they've got 2 guys. This deal said to be maybe sometime next week. They are fucking with us.
It's the Locatelli thing all over again.
They are making it. And in the meanwhile, who else jumped in on Kalulu? Atalanta. Which, great, take them, but they are now taking the piss, right? Fiorentina's got Goodmanson. He's there. Medical's done. Signed, sealed, delivered. Gonzalez, still not here. They are playing games. And the thing is here, while the optics allude to what fans are saying right now, yeah, Giuntoli's getting run over and all this, it's always been about leverage. And I go back to this McKennie thing and reintegration. That statement Mota made, all the words you're hearing from the club, they are fighting. They are fighting what has always been an uphill battle for leverage, because Giuntoli walked into a situation where he knew he had none. That's zero leverage through this whole time. A laundry list of guys on expiring contracts. I know I might sound like a broken record, you guys. We could see this coming a mile away, though. You could see it coming a mile away. At the end of the day, he's dealing with all these contract extensions. There's financial restrictions. He had to sell to make any moves to be brought in. Still found a way to revamp the midfield. Defense is just as good as last year. We might get a pickup that could help us. Hopefully we do. The attack needs attention. But Colt Miners is still your biggest target. And the drop-off is significant. Little less than 2 weeks left. I'm still not at the point where I completely pivot. But just like the reintegrations, Milik, McKennie, probably more, just like those reintegrations, if you think he was always thinking about one plan and not ready for every possible scenario that could come up, I think you're grossly mistaken.
I think he has another target already.
We might not like what the pivot is, but it's also a product of the times. All I hope is that Giuntoli has kept all the receipts through this period, and that when the time comes and we stabilize, then we start to stick it to all these clown shows.
See, I don't agree with that last part. When you look at the EPL, hate it or love it, I don't follow it. But when a deal is done in that league, it's done between 2 teams. They get the deal done. In Serie A, there's always this drama where we got to hold players back. Oh, I got to
telenovela, man, every time.
It doesn't help the league as a whole, and you want the league as a whole. When we sold, like with Fiorentina, here's Keane. Oh my God, that's the deal of the century. We got 13 million for that guy. But the deal was done. It was done at the beginning, and now to reciprocate, right? Things are getting held back. It's just none of this is good for the league. It's just get the. I can understand if they have players coming in, they got to wait to see, but they have Atalanta has their solution. Just get the deal done. There's no need to play games. This is the stuff that drives me nuts and why I call them a clown show. The whole league's a clown show, but whatever.
It's always going to be like that. Hey, guys. Amici di nessuno, man. It's not just a friggin' saying. We see it. We live it every day. This is a classic scenario. And you know what? They can do that. They have the power to do that, you know? But to take out the time, to take out all this on Giuntoli is kind of like, what do you want him to do in a lot of these scenarios? Like, you've got a situation where you're dealing with three parties, player, another club, etc., and then that club's playing games too. And this is something that he's going to have to get used to, because I guarantee you it is nothing like what he would have experienced at Napoli. Nothing. He's starting to find out firsthand like what it's all about being at Juve, and it's a whole different ballgame.
And another thing, Juventus is the only farging club that's buying players. Like, you're not getting this money from anywhere else. Like, what? Just take the money, say thank you, and give us the player. Like, no one else is buying players. Inter's not buying players. Well, they don't really have to. Milan's not spending any money. No one's splashing money. We are.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, it's a clown show. It's ran like a kindergarten. I mean, how can you do business smoothly? At this point, it's out of Giuntoli's hands. Like, the offers are very faithful and very good for those clubs, and they should accept it. The only reason Commisso doesn't accept it yet, and he will, Gonzalez will be a Juve player, in my opinion. It just, when he took over Fiorentina, he said that he wouldn't do another Baggio. Since then, he sold Chiesa and Vlahovic, maybe Bernardeschi, I don't know for his time. Now Nico Gonzalez. And all those players together might be a quarter of Baggio. Not even.
Yeah.
But he sold every best player at Fiorentina since then. So that's why he holds back. But what can we say? Our club is a bigger dream than your club, and those players want to go there.
We got a question from Uvismo we're going to get to, but Cugino Eddie here. Gucci. Atalanta didn't get the reputation as one of the best financially in Europe for nothing. I raise this question to you. If another team was involved, do you think this deal is still in limbo? I say absolutely not.
It's done. It's done 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I think they would just. I think we would move. I think once the final offer is put, it would be done. Like, if Juventus put that offer in a couple of days ago, it's done. Like, there's none of this. Well, let's wait for Monday. Atalanta's going to wait until, what's the last day of the Mercato? 31st or 30th, whatever it is. They're going to wait until 2 days before the Mercato's done.
I have a feeling they're going to drag this thing on. The scary thing is, you know, and this is the other thing too. Does Atalanta give a shit about keeping this guy against his will? Do they ultimately give a shit because they still have him locked up to 2027? So do they actually care? Can Giuntoli make some feints as if, yeah, we're dropping out? Does that have any bearing or effect on a team that has Cope Miners locked up to 2027? Do they really care? Is he willing to make that bluff when, again, I will say this, the drop-off from Cope Miners is huge. I'm going to ask a different question, too, to everybody in the chat. Is our midfield complete as it sits to your comfort level going through this season?
No.
Omer says no. Anthony?
Does that include wingers? Or just the middle
midfield? Are you happy with this midfield? Do you feel it's complete?
No.
Trim?
No. Coop's the missing piece.
I would have to agree. And in a grand scheme of things, I'm sick and tired of Juve settling for previous Mercatos from whatever. It's like, and maybe, I bit into the hope, maybe a bit too much, but I'm telling you, everybody, I want Cope Miners. I want us to land a top guy in Serie A again, and bring him in. We need goals. We need help out of the midfield. This guy's been steady Eddie for years in the league. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, if there's anything evident from the preseason that we're lacking goals, that's the biggest thing. And Coop Miners is a goal machine. The other ones are not so much. Not Thuram, not Luiz. They might contribute a few goals, but Coop Miners he has the real numbers.
Yeah.
Like Scudetto changing numbers.
In the chat here, it's pretty consistent. No. Straight across the board. Not unless we play a flat 3 midfield. Like, no. Hanin, no. Swarit, no. Dom B, no. Forza Juve, no. Roast beef. No. It's...
Mario the Greek was saying that no part of our team is complete. I was like,
not one part of our team is complete. You know what? You can make that argument.
You could make that argument.
You could make that argument. A little bit more help in the back. Midfield missing that one link, and attack, well, we got to get to work on attack. And Gonzalez, again, Fiorentina, playing games. And this is what drives me nuts. Rocco Comiso wants help on Arthur's salary to pick him up. You've built a whole playground out of Juventus money, okay? Us paying you shit. Big money for guys that haven't panned out, okay? And you still want to talk. You still want to talk about anti-Juve shit. And then you have the nerve to ask for help on a player's salary? I would rather fucking keep Arthur to rot fucking somewhere than send him to you clowns. And definitely not helping you a goddamn bit.
No, in this case, we do everything we can to get Arthur off.
But you know what? Yeah, you gotta get this guy going. But still, it's still
just play the game. Just give him that. He's just posturing. That's all he's doing. He's just posturing. That's the way he get the deals done in the end, anyways.
We got to wrap these 2 deals up. These last 2 with the Italian clubs. Get Gonzalez, get Coop, and then that's it, man. Just
they're gonna drag it on, man.
Don't buy in Italy. Just that's it.
Want to say thank you for this. Wow, it's a big message. Okay, it appears very big on the graphic here, but thank you. Appreciate the super chat there. That's one way to support. Hey guys, possible to shed some light how long it will take the team to gel. We're seeing good changes in Juve during the last period. Can't fix it in one Mercato. Mistakes will happen. Expectations need to be managed. We are gonna get to that when we start to preview our first matchup and the season. All right, but thank you again, Hassan. Much appreciated. All right. In terms of these deals, yeah, it's ugly. And again, management, are we scrambling? Are we without direction? This is what's being put out there. I think we kind of covered it. Like, it's just a period of time right now. You just don't have a lot of leverage as Juve. What's my dream? Tell you my dream, everybody.
Be 6 inches taller?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
6 inches.
Perfect as is, buddy. Okay? Fuck you. You alluding to my height just because you're what, 6'7"?
I don't even know how tall you are. I was just throwing it up there.
Damn it. You know how tall I am. All right.
It's a professional show here. Come on.
In 2 days, I've been attacked for age. I've been attacked for height now. What's next? Okay? One time I got called. Somebody said I look like Berna. That was the end. That was the end. Okay. I see Justin in the chat probably waiting to Photoshop my face on that new haircut Berna there. Don't do it. Now,
cornrows A-trim.
Here we go. Oh, and in comes Justin with the easy one there. Okay. Listen. We got keep picking at the scab here, boys. Come on. Shots fired. All right. Hit Berto here today. It's all good. Listen, here's my dream. In all seriousness, pick and pluck the best friggin' Italian talent around, even if it's scarce or not. Right now, the U17s, U19s are hot for Italy. Pick and pluck the best damn talents in Italy. Fill next gen with the best Italian talent that's there to develop whatever. Keep working on the stabilization. Once we get stabilized financially and everything, take your Italian talents, integrate the elite, and honestly, just be a prick to all the Italian clubs in dealings on any players that we want once we reach that stable point, okay? Keep all these receipts. They want a guy. This is the price. I don't want to hear anything from you guys, period. This is the price. Take your business elsewhere. Start dumping your money outside of Serie A, and we move. Because enough is enough, and I'm sick and tired of the same games over and over and over. That's what I'd like to see. That's what I'd love to see.
How many next gen sort of young talent do we sell this summer? Barnechea, Illing Jr., Sule, we bought him, but whatever. Carl George, Hoyson. That's one summer. You're right, Bert.
Illing.
Just keep. I think I said it, but yeah, they just keep building the pipeline.
That's a cash cow. It's always going to be a cash cow. And then you get your key guys getting integrated. That's the way it should be. But that's my dream. So that one day we can give them the ultimate day and not have to play their games and just say, no, we don't care. We're taking our money outside the league. And Gravina will still sit there, and have no clue why his league is just crumbling.
Don't talk on the phones. Just don't talk on the phones about stuff.
We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Guys, this one came up, and I know Alex P's just raring to go on this one because he wouldn't leave me alone yesterday for my thought on it. Locatelli getting interest, apparently, from a Prem club. Okay? I had to put the poll out there. We put the poll out there on Twitter. Sell Locatelli if an offer comes in. Here are your three options. Yes, no, depends how much. Percentages, as it stands, 38% say yes. 35% say no. 27% depends how much money. And it's time to get you guys to weigh in, and everybody in the chat, fire away. Skanga, we're going to start with you.
The initial thought is no, but then that option C with depends how much. I'm all about you got to build with the core. Tech was part of my core, but whatever. We'll live on. Dusan and Bremer were the other non-sellables for me. So I'd be a bit of a hypocrite if I said no. Depends how much. Depends how much. And when in the Mercato it is.
So depends how much. Okay.
Depends how
Trim.
much.
Yes, no, or depends how much?
I actually answered this yesterday. I put depends how much, but I'm hinging that on, and again, I know different position, but if we got Coop, I feel like it would soften the blow a bit more. If we missed on Coop and then sold Loca, we better have fucking goddamn better backup option. Otherwise, we're screwed. So I put depends how much.
All right. Omer.
Yeah, I'm in the 27%. I'm in the depend how much. I will elaborate on Locatelli when we do our season predictions. But he's by no means made anything to be considered untouchable. So it has to be a question of money.
Yeah.
In the end. So, yeah.
So
depends how much. I have a price that I will sell him for.
I've said all along, since dating back to the end of this past season, this is the make or break season for him. And the reason I feel that way is because of all the situations around previous, where the strength of the midfield, what he was being asked to do. This is the difference of opinion. I've always felt he's actually done the job he was asked in that role. And I felt that more of the offensive frustrations we were getting are always, and have historically with Allegri, relied upon the Metsalas and not so much that deep lying guy. But he can do more. Called him out a bunch last season too to step up. He called himself out. I still think this year, a big boost, revamp midfield. So you'd be better off if you can. You've got more coverage. There's a new system, a new style. He should be able to bring his game up. And if he can't, then he can't. However, I do feel, even if I think this is make or break year, it depends how much and what's on the backside. Because if this is also too late to get somebody strong on the backside, or we're taking a flyer on somebody, I don't know if I'm ready to back out of that make or break year on a flyer at midfield. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But it'd have to, if it was 40, I'd probably say yeah. 40 mil, I'd probably say yeah. 35, I'm even thinking about it.
I'd sell my wife for $100 million. What are we even talking about here? 100 million? Of course you'd take that for Luca. It doesn't matter what's on the backside, front side.
Who said 100 mil?
I hope she doesn't watch the show.
If Locatelli ever got 100 million offer, my God.
I mean, we can have him and Chiesa for that price, whoever offers it.
Jesus, you could take half our roster for 100 mil. What are we talking about?
Anybody. You could take the stadium for 100 million.
It's a tough one with him, though. I don't think it's so cut and dry. But 35 to 40, I think and that's good, healthy capital for Juve. That's good, healthy capital on what he stands us right now.
Definitely needs to step it up this year, though.
Yeah, definitely has to step it up. And now, speaking about this year, first game coming up, Como, I'm fired up. Okay, we are having a watch along on the Monday game. We're doing the live preview show. Oh yeah. We're doing it right. We're getting the season kicked off in the right stride there. Hopefully, we get a victory. We've seen projected lineups. It looks like it's the best possible lineup we could put out at this time. I saw questions earlier about Adzic. We're still waiting, and it's any day now we should be getting that next round of tests with his injury, his right thigh injury.
Yeah.
I don't expect him, but who knows? Unless they do a test today or tomorrow. We haven't heard anything for a while, but it was supposed to be 10 days from the injury. So we see. But the lineup was what? Di Gregorio.
You almost said Szczesny.
I almost said Tech. By the way, we will talk Tech. Oh, man, you're so used to saying a guy's name.
Yep.
You know what? Let's talk about Szczesny.
Yep.
Skanga, the whole thing with Szczesny and us buying out the contract, saving $5 million overall. What's your thought on this one at the end of the day?
All you crazy bastards on here and everyone in the chat knows I was the biggest Tech fan on here. Omer, not so much. But buying Di Gregorio, I think it was time to – I still think Tech probably has another year or two good years. But they decided to go with the younger goalie now. I'm okay with it. Perfect. Total class act the way he's leaving. I think a lot of young players should look at that and be like, that's the way to go. He's made his money. I still think he'll find somewhere to play, but I'm not upset with him. I'm not upset at all with any part of the situation. But I wish we could have one more year, but I'm okay with us moving on.
While I'm going to ask the other guys their thoughts too, I want to add this to the discussion. Did Giuntoli make a mistake in picking up Di Gregorio because it was not needed with Szczesny still having 1 year? Should we have let him play out that contract and then just look to pick somebody up? Because he's taking heat for that too, Giuntoli.
I think this was a time now to buy him. Like I think your goalie for the next 8 years, it's something like you just pull the trigger on it as early as you can and it's done. I don't think he wanted to miss on that.
Yeah. Trim, your thoughts on Szczesny, how it all went down, and did Giuntoli act too quick?
So I'll start with the back end on that one. Like, I feel he didn't act too quick. I think it was the right time because, like you said, he only had 1 more year left on his contract. You definitely don't want to go into this season with Tech with only 1 year left. So if you're not planning on extending him, then I think they made the right move. In terms of how they went about it, I think the only kind of disappointing part of it for me is it would have been nice if he took the Saudi offer and did move to Saudi, so we'd at least get a little bit of cash flow for him, or it would have been sawed off, whatever. I think it would have been his salary is like what we would have received in terms of transfer fee. But yeah, no complaints. I mean, I don't think it was handled poorly at all. I know a lot of the fans on Twitter were making a big deal about how it was handled and this and that. Like, it's just become, unfortunately, something of the norm here with Juve in terms of like, they don't really handle the exits, I guess, in the best way or in a way that it'll please everybody. But at the end of the day, like, he was not the long-term answer here. We had him, and he did amazing, and he came in after Gigi, and history is what it is. It speaks for itself, but I don't think he jumped the gun per se. I appreciate the fact that he secured his target, and then whether that hurt us or not in terms of trying to move him on remains to be seen. But who knows? There's still rumors that he might even just flat out retire. But to Skanga's point, like, I think he's got at least a year or 2 years left in him. Just would have to be the right situation.
Yeah. And Omer.
Oh, there are a few aspects to it. First of all, like, he got the worst job possible. Stepping up for after Buffon was an impossible challenge for any goalkeeper in the world, and no one would have been Gigi. That's not the best goalkeeper in the world. That's the best goalkeeper in history. Impossible challenge. He has been solid for most of the time. I think he did Juve justice. And, credit to him for what he's done, and he's been a bright spot for a long time. However, first of all, he did have consistent blunders in him every season that cost points. Games that were solely on him. And he's aging. He has a huge salary. And tactically, Mota wanted a goalkeeper who can play with his feet. And to all the credits that we can give Tech, playing with his feet is not one of them. He's been awful with his feet. So, and the goalkeeper situation, like getting the Gregorio for 20 million, that's a steal for Juve in Italy. When we turned to Carnesecchi, they wanted like 40. Now he's behind Musso at Atalanta. And I think Galliani did us a favor here by accepting these terms. It's better for Di Gregorio, and better start early if that's the route you're going. And Tech was a real man about it, and I respect him for how he handled the situation on his part.
I agree with everything that's been said by all three of you. There's nothing really more to add. I mean, he did his part. He was definitely the right guy, I think, after Gigi. I think he proved that. He might have had some rocky starts to seasons, but he always came through. Performance-wise, I didn't really have too many issues. There were some question marks around some slumps, but overall, impossible to be that guy after Gigi. But he did so, and he did so admirably. The salary, it was time to make the cut. We're cutting everybody. I think because he wasn't able to find a move that he was comfortable with is also a part of why he just didn't create an issue for Juve, and I have a ton of respect for that. And I think there's a lot of guys that should be looking at, just like Skanga said, they need to look at this guy, and that's a way to go out. Like, not being an issue. He could still potentially play and sign for somebody, but we can't think about lost sales or whatnot because he didn't drag it on. He just said, you know what? That's it. Let's just figure something out. I'm fine with this. And again, Juve didn't do anything they're not comfortable with. So it is what it is. I do.
Now, hang on. If our keeper makes a mistake, I may on Twitter write, Tech would have stopped that once or twice this season. I just fair warning.
By the way, anyone who hasn't seen it, Perrine got the number one.
Perrine ended up getting
beneficial
number one.
Today.
Perrine had a beautiful message for Tech. Tech was actually thanking Juventus after their post, thanking him. And so it's really good vibes. Touching on players' goodbyes, and this always comes up around these scenarios and everything, and even Trimnan saying that, it's always kind of been like that. It's really a product of the situation.
Yeah.
The guy's coming up on a final contract here. His salary's high, whatnot. Like, it'd be nice if they did invite him, but it depends. Again, if he ends up playing somewhere next year, whatnot, we're obviously not going to have something for him, right?
So
unless he
let's
shows
make a
up with
question
the
out
other
of it.
club, and maybe they want to do a video montage, a thank you. You see that a lot in North American sports. Hockey player gets traded after being with a team for a long time, shows up, and before the game even starts, that club that's hosting them has a big thank you, right? Maybe something like that if he's in Italy, all right? But ultimately, at some point, I think Tech will have his,
Not everybody's getting to walk around the stadium. And
no, he doesn't need to
that's
walk
my
around the
question.
stadium, but you'd like to see something nice. And like I said,
I think he deserved it.
yeah,
I think Tech deserved. Like,
I think
if
he
you can
deserved
know that that's his final
Agreed.
season, he would have gotten one.
not a walk
kinda
around the
know it-
stadium. It doesn't have to go to that, but something nice with the fans.
Yeah.
I think, right? But
Rabiot didn't get it.
I digress. Didn't deserve it. Now,
No, I
get
agree.
to the Como game and everything. Now, lineup. Okay, it's not Tech, everybody. Di Gregorio,
oh yeah,
Danilo, Gatti, Bremer, Cambiaso, Thuram, Luiz, Locatelli, Weah, Vlahovic, Yildiz. About as good as you can get unless you insert a guy that right now has a brutal situation around him in Fede Chiesa. Outside of that, that's good. Fagioli arguments? Any Fagioli arguments out there?
And
No,
not
I
yet.
want to see him come off the bench personally. Just because he's been out for a full year, like I get it, he's been training, and I've kind of gone back and forth with some followers on Twitter about that in terms of he should be starting over the likes of Thuram or even a Luiz, and I don't agree with that. I think you got to go and put your best foot forward, especially in this game. You want to start off on the right foot. So
he's gonna
for me,
struggle.
I'm okay with him coming off the bench personally.
He's gonna struggle to find minutes this year.
Who?
Fajoli.
I don't
What?
think he will.
He absolutely won't.
I don't think he will. I don't
Okay.
think
We have about, I don't know, 70, 80 games.
There's enough games to go around where he
Yeah.
should get in, but I wouldn't turn to him right away as the main guy, if that makes sense.
Did anybody notice Malta last season in terms of rotation?
He was constantly
No.
rotating, wasn't he?
He was rotating a lot early, and I think it slowed down quite significantly late, like second half.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it'll,
to kind of find his formula.
yeah, I think it'll be I think there'll be actually healthy rotation early on. I don't expect it to be so locked in. Other than certain guys, like Luiz is a lock. That guy's a baller, man. He's a lock
Yeah.
all day. Bremer's a lock all day. I think Cambiaso, I think he's a lock. Yildiz getting the 10, he's a lock. Like this, and with this 10, this contract, I don't have a problem with it. It is what it is. It's cool. He's achieved a dream and everything. Has he done enough to achieve it? I would say no, based on what we hold the number to, but what the club holds the number to is marketing. So, yeah, I mean, he has lived up to that from the team standpoint because he's selling a lot of kits at number 15. So you slap the 10 on that. Oh, yeah, they're going to get their money. Just bring me Cope Miners for Christ's sake, okay? So
What's
sell your
Pogba gonna
kits.
wear when he comes back? So I guess he's not wearing the 10.
Pogba.
The janitor shirt when he comes back.
He's going to be in the creators lab.
Selling popcorn in the concession
He's going to be doing
stand.
freestyle
yeah.
with
Let's
Adios
be paying
or
his
whatever that
salary
guy's
for you.
name is. That's what he's going to be doing. Anyways,
He's coming back.
this season, rotation, everything. It's time before we get to storm the barn way too early. Predictions that are also Mercato dependent, and we will revisit in a couple weeks' time. But it's time to lay our claims down. Serie A. Where will Juve finish, and where is the top 4? All right, so who is in the top 4? Where does Juve finish? Let's kick things off. Omer, you're up first.
So, okay, let's try to make sense of it, because a lot of the stuff we're going to say is based on players who do not play for Juve right now, and on what are we, August 17th. So let's assume Coop and Gonzalez are being signed. I would say Juve are in the top 4. My guess now would be finishing 3rd. And the top 4 would be Inter, Milan, Juve, and Napoli. And for Napoli to be there, it's either Napoli or Atalanta for me. Maybe a surprise by Roma. But Conte can always blow it up. Osimhen is kind of holding back their Mercato because he has no buyers, and they were counting on his 100 million to fund their market. And Conte is already complaining. So if he gets kicked, if he, packs his bags and leaves, then Napoli are not in the top four for me. Atalanta could be interesting. Roma might be a surprise. But as things stand, Napoli with 1 game a week, it's Inter, Milan, Juve, Napoli.
Inter, Milan, Juve, Napoli. That's Omer's. All right. Now we're going to go to Trim.
Okay, so this is dependent on Coop. My answer will change at the end of the window if we secure a Coop. I'm just prefacing.
No, you're locked in. You take that chance right now.
Yeah, take the chance right now. What are we talking about?
Rip it and rip it. Come on.
Astrid.
Take the chance now?
Let's go.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. I still got Inter first, unfortunately. Hoping for some reverse psychology. Hopefully it works, please. But I got Inter 1, Juve 2, Milan 3. And I'm going with the clown show that is known as Atalanta at 4. I don't really know why, to be honest with you, because now I'm thinking about all the injuries they have and them minus Coop. Depends what they bring in to replace him. But I don't have faith in Napoli, especially with the way things are going right now. If they sell Osimhen, that's kind of my logic here. Is, they'll try to contend for 4th, but I really don't think that they're going to squeak in, even with one comp and Conte. I don't want to hear it. I was bullish on them last year. I said they'd finish out of the top 4, and I was right after they won the Scudetto. So I'm going to double down and say they're not making it this year again. And I don't have faith in Roma. Don't have faith in Lazio. So, yeah.
All right.
That's my 4.
So I'll go now, and then Skanga will be the anchor.
Oh,
okay?
I'm ready.
Juve's in the top 2.
Yeah.
I have them in the top 2. I don't know if I'm going to go as far as to say win it. I'll probably still put the shitheads up there. Us in second. I think Napoli goes 3rd. Milan goes 4th. Maybe Milan 3rd. Yeah, I'm going to go shitheads, us, Milan, Napoli is what I think is going to go down. That's my 4. We could easily be 3rd. I still feel confident. I see some shouts for us not being in top 4. Very, very few, but I think Juve definitely gets top 4. Napoli, I see them making it for the reason that I do think Conte's going to be a prick. That's standard for him. But he's going to bring them up a notch, and they only have to worry about Serie A. I know that's also uncharted territory for dynasties, but they only have to worry about Serie A. They'll be in the top 4. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm comfortable with that, and I would love to be wrong. And my heart's pick is us, obviously, lifting that thing and us hitting stride and picking up those guys we need to finish up the Mercato, but I don't know. There's a lot of question marks. And now what if Fede Chiesa does get reintegrated? What if all this is for naught? What if something weird happens there and they do work something out? It won't happen without a renewal, but what if? Just what if? I was hoping Enrico Chiesa could slap some sense into his kid and work things out with Juve, but it appears it ain't going to happen, but you just never know. You just never know. But that's my top 4. Skanga, you're up.
What are you people? Napoli finished 10th last year.
They stink.
What are you? Everybody on here, Napoli first. What are you people talking? Anyways, okay. So I'll go my top 7 because you're all a bunch of scaredy cats. So I'll go Inter, Milan, Juve, Atalanta. Yes, I'm the same with Trim over here. I'm going to put the clown show at 4th. So Inter, Milan, Juve, Atalanta. And then I'm going to say Lazio, Roma are going to battle it out for that 5th, 6th spot. And I put Napoli at 7th. They were 10th last year. I don't know what the hell you people are talking about.
Yeah, Conte's instant fireworks, man. It's a big stimulus. Year 1.
Yeah.
Juve competition?
7th.
Come on.
Juve finished 7th before Conte came in. Chelsea finished 10th. Inter were awful.
Tell him, Omer. Tell him.
Conte is a very, very methodical coach. When he has a week to prepare for a match, he's doing a great job and he's preparing his team very well. When he has a few matches a week, that's when it starts being problematic. Even with Inter, when he won the Scudetto, it was after the half a season where they got relegated from the Champions League. And then he really made strides. when it's one game a week, Conte is a phenomenal coach. That's why I don't,
What year is this?
I wouldn't
Imagine
discredit
giving a
him.
history lesson to a dinosaur. Jesus Christ.
The
Okay.
one thing I will give them though, Napoli, even though I have them out of the top four, is Buongiorno pickup. That's going to be significant, I think. Them getting Buongiorno is really going to help that back line.
I do find
Yeah,
it
you
funny.
guys-
Sola, Buongiorno.
I do find it funny he's so upset about Osimhen still being there, though. It's like, is that big of
wants
an
his boy.
issue, man? Like,
He
Do you
wants
guys
to
still
forward-
think they're going to be that good if Osimhen is sold?
That's
I think
where
they
would
will
go on
be better if he gets who he wants. Look,
Luca.
Osimhen, they wanted to shop him for 150 last summer. One mediocre season and the price dropped down to 100 and no one's coming in for him. And that's kind of holds up their Mercato. They were
Conte's
banking
got
on it.
Giaccherini on the line, man, waiting to
Yeah.
pop into that midfield, man. He's got
Yeah.
Lukaku. He's
Peluso.
waiting, man. He's got all these guys just rounded up,
Yeah.
ready.
Napoli.
And I
And
just
the
want to
stuff
say
off
one
the
thing.
pitch is going off on Instagram lives and shitting about the club. And there are a lot of issues with him outside of the pitch that Napoli wants to get rid of.
Yeah. We do, and now that we get those out of the way, top four, that takes a lot of time. We're going to rifle through these, try to get to some Storm the Barn. There's a ton of Storm the Barn questions in here. Coppa Italia. What does Juve do in Coppa Italia? I've got us winning it, especially after the path that we've come out with. All right. But Omer, what do you have for Coppa Italia? You're muted, man.
Oh, sorry. I pulled it up here. So the only club on our bracket, our side of the bracket, is Atalanta. Like the rest are Fiorentina, Bologna, and the others still need to qualify. On the other side, it's Milan, Napoli, Roma, Lazio. And so, yeah, we should make it to the final easily and probably win it.
Yeah, I've got
Probably
them
got
winning. What do you have
relegated.
them doing? Winning?
Yeah.
Okay, Coppa Italia wins 2 there. Skanga
First.
winning it. Trim.
We're winning this thing, and then Hanin, Napoli are not finishing ahead of Juve. Just wanted to say that. Juve will finish
I
ahead
wrote
of
that down in my book.
Boom.
There we go. Super Coppa. Juve's finishing the Super Coppa. Omer.
Yeah, it's first time we're doing like a tournament.
Tournament
So who's
style.
in? Milan, Inter, and Atalanta, right?
I believe,
I
yeah.
actually think Atalanta takes it because that's around January, and that's when most teams kind of drop off a bit. And I think Atalanta are there to pick it up at that time.
Okay. Trim. Super Coppa.
We're winning that bitch too.
Winning
Hold
that
on.
too. Okay. Skanga.
Do you have to play all 3 teams, or is it like a semi-final, final thing?
No, you're playing. Round robin.
It's a round robin.
Quick knockout.
I'll say we finished third in that because I don't really care.
Best player this season for Juve. Who's going to be Juve's best player? Chat, let's go. Best
kinda
Juve player this
subjective.
season.
So I'll go with Luis.
I have Douglas Luiz as well.
I'm going Coop if he lands, and if he doesn't land, I'm going to go with Bremer.
Okay, we got a shout for Di Gregorio. We got Bremer. We got McKenny. We got Yildiz. Skanga. Who's going to be our best player this year?
So like is that our MVP? Like
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna go with Dusan then.
All right. Who's going to
The
be
player
the
we need to
season?
win.
Who's going to be the season flop?
I go
Okay,
first?
so yeah, go first.
I'm going Danilo.
You son of
Not
a
looking
bitch.
good. Not looking good for Capitano, unfortunately. That's what I think.
And this is someone who's like a starter, basically a starter moving basically to the bench. Whoop.
Can be
Yeah.
anybody, I think.
Focus up.
Okay, hold on a sec. Where are we going here?
So,
Season
Tony.
flop.
Season flop, yeah.
Tony.
Who'd you call?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't call.
Mhm.
Well, you want? I can say mine right
Yeah.
now. I think it's gonna be Gatti.
Okay. Trim?
And
I said Danilo.
Danilo. Omer.
yeah, I said I would elaborate on Locatelli. I think it's either Locatelli or Fagioli. One will overshadow the other and make the other one look a lot worse and kind of push him out of the starting 11. I don't know who, but one of them is going to affect the other one.
Okay, that's only worth half the points if he's right then.
A part of me thinks potentially Yildiz could be a flop this season.
It's the curse of the 10, man. Just retire the jersey. I'm with you, Berto. I am
No,
with
it has
you.
nothing to do with the 10.
Oh, no.
A part of me thinks the expectations are too high based on what I saw him do starting matches last season. But Mota's game is going to give him way more opportunities to actually cook. So I'm going to back off of the Yildiz thing, but he's on my radar for a potential flop. I actually think it's probably going to be Cambiasso. I think Cambiasso will not bring what's going to be expected to the levels after what he did last year. I think we might be
Cambiasso?
I think we might be stagnant with him or maybe a bit of a drop. So I'm going to say Cambiasso, I think, might flop. Hopefully
Who's
I'm
going
wrong.
to be
and
the management
hopefully this is a
MVP?
tough one to answer by the end of the season because nobody flops. But I do like Cambiasso a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's just preseason and whatnot. He's looking a little off to me. I don't know. It's early.
Man, it was
Like
much
Weah?
easier to choose last season.
Way in there?
He might be better as a wing back and maybe further up than he is as an outright fullback with Cambiasso. It's looked a little bit awkward. I'm just going to say Cambiasso. I'm a little bit concerned there. Top scorer, regardless of how many misses, whatever, it's Vlahovic. I've got Vlahovic.
How many
There we go.
goals?
We only have one striker.
Yeah, Vlahovic, top scorer. And I'm going to say that in Serie A, he hits 22.
Yeah, it seems
Last year, I
logical
didn't
to
have him
be-
over 20. This year, I have him over 20. 22, 23 goals, I'll say.
Well, because it
It's
takes
22 or 23?
penalties and free kicks.
It's 22 or 23.
No, pick
Is
a
that all
number.
comps or just Serie A?
Serie
Serie
A,
A.
22 or 23.
I'd go with 18.
I'm doing that specifically for Skanga, going back to
Because
the
I
height
have
reference.
Dusan
So
on
22 or
23 goals.
23.
have
Two things you
23.
can do about it. Nothing and like it. Omer, who's your top scorer? How many goals?
Vlahovic with 18.
Vlahovic, 18 in Serie A. Okay.
6
Trim.
of those are penalties.
I'm going obviously Vlahovic. I'm gonna say 27. That's my lucky number.
27 in Serie A.
27.
That's a lucky
This guy's gonna
number of
go.
27.
This guy's gonna go 8. You know what?
hell?
27 goals. Look it.
Jesus.
And that's like one of the best seasons ever for a Juve
That's
striker.
insane. Okay. I love it. I hope you're
Careful,
right.
Gotta be careful with these
Skanga,
buckets. I'm going to go Dusan with 23. Yeah.
23. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 22 or 23. So if it's a little bit under, I'm closer. Now we're going to get
Price
to
right goals.
top assists. Who's going to be the assist leader?
I think Coop Miners, if he signs.
I still have Luis. Luis, best player, MVP, and most assists. Even
Was
off
it Chiesa
set
last
pieces
year?
as he's a set piece specialist. So I've got Luis.
With how many?
14.
I think
Something
our top assist
crazy.
person had 11 last year.
14 from Luis this year.
Okay, I'll go same Luis, but I'm going to go 12.
I'm going to go 12
Price
or
is Right
14. Over 14. Top assists, Omer. You got Coop. How many?
9.
Okay. And Trim?
I'll go Louise and I'll go an even 10.
Even 10. Okay, we got a shout for Taram. And 9. Okay.
Nice.
Yildiz and 8. Yildiz could be a good shout on assists. We'll see. Top youngster. And we'll say around 23 of age now, whatnot. I'll drop you mine. Top youngster is
Yep.
going to be Kefren Taram.
Nice. Good show.
Yeah, so
He's
it's anyone
23
under
years old.
23.
He's 23 right now, Kefren Taram.
I thought he was 29.
No,
He's a giant.
no.
Mm-hmm.
23 years old. I'm going Kefren Turam, top youngster.
Damn, I wanted Kefren. No,
Take
I'll
him.
go with No, I can go with Ildiz.
Ildiz? Okay.
Yeah.
Trim.
I'm gonna go with Yildiz as well. I think he's gonna have a solid season.
All right. 1 for
I'm
Turam,
going
2 for Ildiz.
I'm going with you. I'm going with you, Berto. I'm going with Turam.
There we go.
There you go. There you go. Nice. That wraps up our little way too early.
I got one more.
Mercato.
One more. We can throw it out there. Come on.
What?
Total goals.
No. That'll be revisited after all is settled. We got to revisit these in 2 weeks' time. Mercato's got to end. Take it easy. Take it easy. Okay. Let's get to a couple Storm the Bars. Let's try and machine gun these. I'm probably just going to pick one of you from the panel just to answer what we pull up. We'll take a look here. Faraz, I know we are coming from a poor season and most of our players are bang average, but why do you think it has been so dry when it comes to incoming offers? All right. So let's give this one to Omer. Omer, how come so dry when it comes to incoming offers?
Oh, because Juve were awful. Even the players that are not at Juve at the moment find it hard to find clubs. They were awful and on huge salaries. And the reality in the market today, aside from the EPL, doesn't allow other teams to have that. So if you want to sell someone to a lower grade team, then you have to kind of fund his salary or something. And then it's only a loan. So he comes back next season. We've seen that, rinse and repeat with a few players in the past seasons. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, Rabiot is a free agent, still has no team. Which is insane because he was claimed to be Juve's best central midfielder in the past 2 seasons by a lot. So yeah, just awful money and very mediocre, below mediocre season for Juve.
Yeah. I think you hit spot on. I mean, it's performances and it's the wages we had guys on. It's just not appealing. It's, combination of the two. Abdul coming in here. Do you guys think the management is doing a good job keeping the balance between being financially healthy and keeping the squad competitive? I don't think so personally. Who wants to take this one on? I don't mind, but if somebody else wants to take this one on.
Go ahead, Berto. You got all the data on this one. I was going to take it, but I think you've done a lot of the news. Yeah,
that right now he is doing a good job balancing. We talked about this earlier on in the show. The leverage just hasn't been there. A laundry list of guys on expiring contracts. We've seen the previous question was in relation to lack of interest for the guys we're trying to shop. Not really forcing our hand, but we had to use the young guys that we knew we could get deals for. I think he's doing a really solid job. Because you've revamped the midfield. Your defense is equally as strong as it was last year. One move could potentially boost that. And we are looking at one move. The wingers, the attack, that still needs to be sorted out. But again, there's stuff in the hopper, but he's fighting a battle that has always been prevalent with Juve. And that is how the Italian clubs deal with us. Everything has been uphill this entire thing for Giuntoli, but the wages have come down considerably. He's signed the deals that he's finished have all been great, and they've come in at respectable numbers salary-wise. So the seeds for the future have been planted. Thuram, Di Gregorio, Douglas Luiz, even Cope Miners is 25, 26 years old. If we land him, hopefully, but everything's leading in the right direction. Facundo Gonzalez still remains our property, even though we moved Hoist and whatnot. Just as strong, maybe slightly less touted prospect, whatnot, but it's moving in the right direction consistently. And he had to do this and make these moves all while still factoring in minimal for budget. I think he's on the right track. He's definitely on the right track and definitely better than what we've seen past 4 or 5 years.
I want to chime in here.
this would have been so much patchwork. We would have seen these same guys everyone's complaining about immediately re-signed, renewed, contract extensions to God knows what, because they would have panicked and they would have filled the roster and taken the easy way out. He's making life more challenging for himself, but I respect him for doing it because it's for our best interest in the future. And that's why he was brought here. That's my answer.
I want to chime in here a bit. We've talked about in the group chat, so I'll just repeat what I said. I think we're going to thank Giuntoli for the work he is doing now financially. Because we've tried it the other way around, spending money we don't have, caving into every team's request or to every player's request for salary and stuff. Ramsey, De Ligt, whoever, you just name him. And look where that got us.
Yeah.
Now, what Giuntoli is doing now financially will bear fruits in a couple of years, not immediately. Yeah. But it had to be done. Someone had to, jump on that grenade and start doing that. And I like that he's not caving into anyone. And if it doesn't fall within the budget that was set by the club, then it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Now, you're muted, Ant.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. I just asked people, just look at it as a whole picture.
Yeah.
People look at it like individual transactions. You have to look at the whole picture of transactions for today and next year and the year after. So I challenge people to do that because I know people are challenged in doing that.
Well, it's so easy to be a prisoner of the moment. And I see others going on their shows and talking about it and creating this panic amongst and I'm like, why are we panicking? Like, no, Juve's not doing anything they didn't plan or account for. If you think he's looking down one path and he's not prepared for, there's a fork in the road here. What if it goes this way? What if it goes that way? He's prepared for all that. This guy, it's not day one on the job for this guy. He's been around long enough to understand things can go many different ways. That push for those players was to see if they can finalize their top priority, which was moving them, because it is more beneficial for Juve to sell those players. So I completely understand them in doing that. You could criticize him for doing that because it might create an awkward scenario for them coming back, but does it ultimately? Because this happens every summer. You have players, you're shopping, and that's part of the business. And if these players are professionals, they're going to figure it out. They're going to see. And especially, I don't think it's that bad from Giuntoli's perspective, because name me a player that had a better offer than what he's currently getting at Juve that he was approached with. The only one was McKennie, and he refused it with Aston Villa. But otherwise, the demands and the clubs coming for them make sense to take our offers, even if they're lowball. Because you still remain with Juve. You still remain in a club that's in 4 or 5 competitions, whatever. That's going to get you the exposure, and we could look down the road. It is what it is, right? So, yeah, you can criticize, but tough times. I really, really feel for this guy. Now, a couple more will machine gun. Why aren't we going after free agents like Hermoso and even Hummels? I couldn't tell you. I don't think anybody here could tell you. Who knows? Who knows?
There might be.
Maybe in the end, something like that does happen.
Yeah, last minute signings.
What did you guys think about Thuram against Atletico? I'm going to be quick on this one. His best preseason match for us, in my personal opinion.
I think it was the best player on the pitch for Juve in that match.
Yeah, I think that was easily. His first one left a lot to be desired, and then he got better. But then the Atletico one, that was easily his best showing. So he's been climbing the rungs, and I like it. And hopefully that just rolls right into the season. Percentages chance of Fede being reintegrated eventually if he isn't sold. Swarit, man.
0.
Oh, I feel for you. I'm going to say that I'm at 20% maybe. 20% of reintegration.
Yeah, I'm going to say like 25, like barely, just...
Skanga loves percentages. Where are you at?
0.
0.
Oh. Drop the hammer.
We got a 1% in the chat too. We got
We did it with Ramsey.
0.00001.
We'll freeze people out. He's not coming
Okay,
back.
I'll just be different, and I'll go with higher percentages. I think it's like 85. If he is here when the Mercato ends, I think it's getting reintegrated.
All right.
Only if there's an injury. If there's an injury, it's a different story.
Yeah, injury it kind of kills everything.
No, to another player, and they're
Oh.
forced to.
How happy are you? This come from Pino there with Rabiot sitting home, washing his hair with mommy after telling us he had better options. Does he get a job late? I think ultimately he finds a club really, really late, but it's actually comical because the picture that was painted was of all these clubs coming in and this salary and whatnot. Hey, man, played a game and it appears you've lost it or are losing it unless something drastically changes. Give us your prediction of what will actually happen with Chiesa. My prediction is frozen. I don't think he leaves anywhere. I think he's got an agreement. I think frozen.
I think he gets sold
You think he does ultimately move? Yeah, it's tough for him to take that risk.
for like 10 million.
I think he goes to Inter. I hate to say it, but like whether it's next year on a free, they sell him this year, but for me it reeks of Inter in the background, and I don't know, man. It just seems like that's where he's going to end up.
Omer, are you losing faith in your prediction that he remains this season?
No.
You're still strong?
No, I maintain my initial thought from July. I think he survived this summer for some reason, inability to sell, and he will get reintegrated, not in a leading role, but still part of the team, and we will see him play for Juve again this season. That's my gamble.
Yeah. Best plan B for missing out on Cope Miners? I'm going to be quite honest. It was Margic secured by Atalanta. I don't even want to think about it because it's a significant drop.
Not happening.
Yeah. Let's just go with that one. Not happening.
Not
Cope's
happening.
coming. But in actuality, like it's not pretty now with the movement that's happened there for post-Cope. Last one. Will Juve be the dark horse in the Champions League this season? I hope they take a page out of Ancelotti's book for Black Magic. Look, I just want them to be, like I said, a pain in the ass to play against. That's what I want us to get back to year zero. Get back to being a pain in the ass team. That's it.
Don't get relegated at a
I think
Champions
round
League.
of 16. I'm thinking round of 16 maybe, and that's it.
Round of 16. I think we'll hit knockouts. We'll hit knockouts.
Hit knockouts, but anything else after that for me is just gravy. It's a bonus.
Yeah, and then come knockouts, just be that pain in the ass. That's it.
Got to see this. Got to see the schedule first, though, because we don't play everybody in the Champions League.
Teams to look at like
format.
Yeah, they'll switch it up. They'll pool teams for the games, but I just want them to look at the schedule and see Juve and just be like, that's what I want.
Agreed.
Because it hasn't been like that for so bloody long. That's what I'm looking for, all right? And hopefully they can bring it. There's a lot of work to be done, but let's see what happens with Como here. Last one. Do you think Di Gregorio is the best goalkeeper in the league?
Tech is.
No, Tech is not in the league. No, Mike Magnan for me.
Yeah, but Di Gregorio, he is one of, in my opinion.
Yeah, top
he is
two,
one
top
of.
three.
Yeah, he was
over the
one
past
of
couple
already
seasons.
last season.
Has been, and last season winning the award for it. He's up there, but I'm not opposed to giving Magnan the edge for sure. But he's up there. Watch along for Como, absolutely. There's a watch along, all right, and you're gonna be fishing. I love it. Yes, join us. Preview show Monday morning, all right? And then watch along post-match the day after. We're ready to kick off the 24-25 season, all right? Live chat, you guys. Absolute fire as always. AJC Army showing up and rocking it out today. We thank you. And scramble mode might be coming up, but not just yet. Okay? But let's wait and let's see. Some teams playing some games. Hopefully we get these big ones across the line. Then that takes that score for the Mercato. I think personally, through the roof, given the circumstances. But please, let's wrap some of this up. Let's see what goes down. Either way, I'm going to have fun watching Como, all right, and hanging out with all of you. And Skanga, Omer, absolute pleasure, boys. Okay? Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Serie A action. Everybody stay tuned for what's going to happen on Playback TV as well. We're going to do probably a Serie A roundtable potentially Monday after the Juve game with some rival fans, all right? So watch out for that one. The link to Playback TV in the description to this video, all right? Enjoy your weekends. We'll be in touch. I'll keep you in the loop on the news as well. Till next time. Fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.
Set the tone.
Yeah.